Virgo, so this is going to be your astrology reading for the month of January. And the way that I've structured this is really kind of taking those major aspects that happen throughout the month, those major transitions, and really kind of highlighting how it affects you so that you can kind of understand the ebb and flow of all the energy throughout the entire month. And so for you specifically, we have a lot of Capricorn energy. It's going to impact your ninth house. And so ninth house would be higher education. It would be any kind of growth or expansion. This is really being able to see things from that big picture, maybe understanding the truth of a situation. All of those things are ninth house energies. But when we start the month off here on the 1st, so we have Mercury stationing direct in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Mercury was in Capricorn when it went retrograde, and then it retrograded back into the sign of Sagittarius. And so it was retrograde, now we're going to be direct, and so it's in Sagittarius. It will go into Capricorn later this month. But what's been happening in the meantime is maybe there was something that came up when Mercury was in the ninth house before. Was there something related to higher education? Was there maybe some sort of goal that you set for yourself? Something maybe you saw from a big picture perspective that maybe had you creating some sort of plan for yourself, because that would be that Mercury in Capricorn energy. And then when Mercury stationed retrograde and then moved back into Sagittarius, now it's taking that internal look. Okay, these plans that I started coming up with, or this formulation, does that work for me? Does that make sense with my life and the way that I want to live my life long term? Is there anything here that I would want to change? Mercury in Sagittarius is going to impact your 10th house. And so kind of thinking through from an education standpoint, is there an impact to your work? Would going back to school or maybe getting some sort of certification, is that going to make you better at your job? Is it going to elevate you more at your job? That 10th house is career and public reputation. So does that put you out more front and center? Does it give you more opportunities? Does it open up more pathways for you when it comes to your current job or maybe other jobs that you're trying to seek? And so all of this is kind of coming into play for you. On the 4th of January, so we have Mars entering Capricorn. And so this is going to impact your ninth house. And this is where all of this ninth house energy is really going to come into play. And so when you think about what kind of goals you set for yourself, connected to your career, maybe connected to your education, and how all of this comes into play and that long-term stability you're trying to create for yourself, because that's what Capricorn is. It's coming up with this long-term plan to make you feel stable in just the long run. And again, long run, think like 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, like that's what that means. And so with Mars entering Capricorn, you're being given an opportunity to really start taking those actions that you want to take as far as how do I make my long-term dream a reality? What steps do I need to take in order to get there eventually? And so that's what this is about. This is going to be you coming up with whatever actions that you need to take. Just a note here, there is going to be something that not all the details are going to be very clear to you. There might be something here that's a little bit fuzzy and just maybe needs to change. Maybe you have this idea and you think maybe it should go, this way, but the universe is like, well, but that's not really it. You need to come over here and do it this way. So just be open, be flexible to making modifications to whatever this long-term plan is. If you start taking actions towards your long-term plans and they don't seem to kind of work the way that you would expect them to work, be open to change here. When we have all of that happening, so about a week later, on the 11th, we have the new moon in Capricorn. And so this is still going to impact your ninth house. In the sign of Capricorn, in your ninth house, or transiting your ninth house at this time, there is going to be 4 planets. So it's the Sun, Moon, Mars, and Pluto. And so it's a stellium. This is pretty strong energy for this. And what that means is that the Sun and the Moon, obviously they're going to be at the same spot in the sky, because that's why you don't see the moon, is because it's being blocked. And so with the Sun and the Moon, we have the Sun, that is your soul's expression. That's how you express yourself. It's how you express yourself. You have the Moon, that is how you emotionally process things. So there's this outward and this kind of inward alignment with what exactly you want to say, what exactly you want to do. We have Mars in the mix. So what actions do you want to take when it comes to, again, what kind of growth do you see for yourself? How do you want to kind of grow as a person? Take those steps in order to achieve your goals. Connected to maybe your work, probably your work, just the way all of this energy is kind of flowing together. And then we also have Pluto in the mix. So Pluto, transformation. So what needs to change here in order for you to go and get that? Is it that education? Is it going after some sort of certificate? Maybe this is something you started before and now you're saying, okay, now I need to go back and finish. I need to get that degree, or I need to do whatever it is. I need that certification, or just complete that class in order to go after what I want. And so anything here, there really is this kind of emphasis on that long-term goal, seeing it from that big picture, understanding how all the pieces fit together. And if something doesn't fit, don't make it fit. Don't force it. Then it's not meant to be for that specific goal. You can let it go. That new moon is a great time for really setting those intentions to make sure you're on the right path. But if something isn't on your path, as far as like what you need to get there, let it go. It's also a great time to release. A couple days later, we have Mars entering Capricorn. And so now what's happening is we have the Sun, we have Mars, we have Pluto, and we have Mercury in the sign of Capricorn. The moon, gone. That is a fast-moving energy. It will have moved on by the time that Mercury enters Capricorn. And so now we're still sitting in Sun. So this is your expression, how you express yourself. Mercury, now you've got the medium for expression. How do you go out and achieve those long-term goals? This would be processing, okay, these are the steps that I'm taking, and these aren't the right steps in order for me to get what I want. Pluto, how do I transform that? What changes do I need to make in order to make that happen? And so all of this is really kind of coming together, especially with Mars, what actions. I mean, this is really where the pivoting is probably going to take place for you. And so really kind of keep that in mind, because this is all about, again, thinking through that long-term strategy that you want. And this here, the strategy that you're trying to employ, is actually being blessed by the universe. So there is a Jupiter component to all of this. Jupiter is in the sign of Taurus, I believe. I don't think I wrote it down, but it is kind of blessing this entire transformation that's taking place. And when Jupiter comes in to the mix, when Jupiter has any say at all, it's a positive. Jupiter will not let you fall down. It will not let you fail. It won't. It's just that type of energy. And so what's going to happen here a couple of days later, so as you're kind of solidifying whatever this plan is that you're trying to create for yourself, whatever that long-term strategy, that long-term goal that you're setting, on the 20th, we are going to have the Sun and Pluto at the exact same degree point in the sign of Capricorn. It's called a cazimi. And so what this means is, this is really that end of a cycle. This is the end. This would be thinking of it as finalizing your strategy, finalizing that game plan, but just know that you're going to get one more opportunity to revisit this later in 2024 from September 1st to November 18th, 19th, when it then, during that time, Pluto is going to retrograde back into Capricorn. So that would be that final closure. And when I say final, in our lifetime, we won't see Pluto back in the sign of Capricorn. It just doesn't happen that way. Pluto takes roughly 250 years to go through the entire zodiac, and so we won't see it again. When it moves fully into Aquarius later that day on the 20th, minus the time that it will retrograde back into Capricorn, it's going to be here until 2043. So we're going to be sitting with this energy for a while. And so kind of finalizing whatever that strategy is that's taking place. And then later that day, we have the Sun and Pluto entering Aquarius. And so we did get our first glimpse of what this would look like back in 2023. So it would have been from March 23rd to June 11th. And so this is going to impact your 8th house. 8th house being maybe intimacy issues, power and control issues. This would be other people's money. So what maybe took place from the end of March until maybe mid-June of 2023. So what happened there? Because whatever transformation was taking place there is going to be highlighted again here. And so with the Sun and Pluto both entering Aquarius, Aquarius is a very liberating energy. So this would be thinking outside the box, acting outside the box. The changes that you make would not be conventional, because Aquarius does not like convention at all. Where you have Capricorn that's very structured and very disciplined, and I'm going to make this happen, and nothing is going to take me off course. Aquarius is saying, you can have your long-term goal, but I'm going to get you there differently. And that's exactly what this is all about. And so whatever restrictions you've placed on yourself, whatever has kind of stunted your growth, that's it's about to be liberated. All of that is about to be kind of freed from you, if you think of it that way, because, and liberation is the one descriptive adjective, whatever, for Aquarius that is really resonating right now. So this would be kind of those changes that you need to make in order to get what you want from a long-term perspective, because you've created this goal for yourself. You have this long-term plan, but some of what's happening around you doesn't fit. It needs to go away, and you need to pivot and come up with maybe this out-of-the-box plan. So what it's doing is it's giving you an opportunity to really explore the depths of your emotions, acknowledging what needs to change, taking the action, and letting yourself take the action. Be unconventional here. And so this is also about resisting any changes at all. You're going to release that. On the 23rd, we have Venus entering the sign of Capricorn. And so this is going to impact your 9th house. And what I love about the Venus and Capricorn energy is it's about grounded. It's about what you value kind of brought into reality in a more practical sense. It is going to impact your 9th house here. And so if education is important to you, is it Ivy League that's important to you? Or is a state school good? What is it that you really need? Kind of think of it that way. What's more practical for you to do? What works with your schedule? What works with your life and the quality of life that you want to have? What makes the most sense for you? Because it would be maybe taking some of those things that are not practical and modifying them so that they are. Is it online is better for you than in-person education? Those types of things. We have then the full moon in Leo on the 25th. And so this full moon in Leo is going to impact your 2nd house. And so this would be, these are your personal finances. And so where we saw Pluto entering Aquarius, we saw this impact into your 8th house. 8th house can also be other people's money. And so when you think about that perspective, we have the full moon in Leo, we have the sun and Pluto entering Aquarius. Is there something here changing with your finances? What is the impact to your 2nd house of personal finances? So we have other people's money. So this could be debt. This could be your employer paying you as opposed to you working for yourself. You working for yourself would be the 2nd house type of energy. Your personal finances. So there is this connection also with the 8th house and the 2nd house, that Aquarius and Leo energy. And so this might be the time where you let go of any kind of excess spending or maybe any kind of extravagance, because maybe you were doing that in response to something else. Like, I'll use retail therapy as an example. Maybe when it came to power and control issues, you might have been in a really restrictive relationship at one point and you were not able to spend money the way that you felt like you should be able to spend money. And so when you finally were free from that situation, you allowed yourself to spend and maybe overspend. And now you're getting to a point of understanding that that's not healthy either. Your response to that's not healthy. And so this full moon in Leo is saying, okay, well, you were doing all those extravagances, but you were doing it. And when you think about everything else that's been happening here from an astrology standpoint, you know why you've been doing that. Now it's time to let go of that behavior. Be more realistic, be more grounded in how you are handling your finances. On the 27th, we do have Uranus stationing direct in the sign of Taurus. And so this is going to impact your 5th house. And so to kind of talk a little bit about Taurus. So Taurus is that very grounded, very practical type of energy. It is ruled by Venus. So there is a relationship component here. This is also in your 5th house. There's another relationship component here. And so Uranus in your 5th house would be some sort of sudden change. Uranus is that sudden, we're going to just break down all of these barriers, knock down all of these walls, open things up for you type of energy. And so is there going to be a sudden change in maybe your hobbies, your passions? This could also indicate short-term romances as something here needs a change. Maybe this is, could be children. It could be children. This is really what it comes down to. How do you spend your free time? That 5th house energy is kind of like all those things that you really just enjoy doing. So it's because it's more of like a playful type of energy here. And so with Uranus in the mix, if there's something that's preventing you from really enjoying and fully just loving the way that you spend your free time, all of that's going to suddenly change. All of that it's definitely going to change. And what's been happening here with Uranus in retrograde, you might have started to change the way that you felt about how you spent your free time. You might have changed the way you felt as far as like interacting with your children if you have them. or short-term relationships, or maybe any kind of passion project or hobbies or something else. How you've been living your life has probably changed because your perception of it has changed. That was Uranus changing you internally, opening you up for a different way of doing things. And that's exactly what this is. And so now Uranus is going to station direct in this house. And so there will be changes in the way that you spend your free time, how you enjoy spending your free time. And what's going to happen now is for the next couple of months until April 1st, so from January 27th to April 1st, all the planets are going to be direct. So this is going to be a lot of movement forward. These changes might be sudden, they might be quick, and you might start seeing it in all of these different areas of your life, but these are all positive. Everything that's happening here is meant to put you on a better path. So just keep that in mind. As uncomfortable as some of this might feel, there is a positive component to it. And so Virgo, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If you did like this format, let me know. Drop me a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. So, because this is the first time I'm doing it like this for the entire month. And if you like this, then I'm gonna keep doing it. Anyway, if this did resonate, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Take care.